Powerful message there from Larry Lucchino and what Dana Farber has meant to him. And now we're joined by a very special guest, Elle Simone Scott. Elle is currently undergoing treatment at Dana Farber for ovarian cancer. And if you look her up on Instagram, you'll see she's a great cook, but you also see something that stood out to me, cancer thriver.
Yes.
Elle, thank you so much for waking up early this morning and joining us. How did you find the diagnosis? Because I think that's always so important for people to hear. But before we get to your battle and you thriving through cancer, how did you discover the ovarian cancer?
Well, unfortunately, I was misdiagnosed twice living in New York, probably 2 years before coming to Boston. When I came here, I started a new job at America's Test Kitchen and asked around for referrals for doctors. And someone referred me to the New England Gynecological Center. And I met Dr. Vivian Hernandez, who has since retired, but I'm sure she's still out there watching and supporting. And she believed me. She believed that I had pain. She investigated and sent me for an ultrasound. And before I could get from the ultrasound office to my office, which was right across the train track, she called to tell me that she saw there was a cyst that had cancerous characteristics, and she was going to refer me to Dana Farber and her colleagues from Harvard Medical. And so from that day on, which was roughly about September 16th, 2016, everything moved quickly. Nothing was more than 7 to 10 days in action. And I feel so fortunate to have encountered Dr. Hernandez and Dana Farber for that.
It's a common theme that we've heard other patients talk about after the first day as well. Just knowing something's wrong with your body and having to advocate for yourself sometimes because you know yourself best. What are you doing to raise awareness of ovarian cancer, especially in the Black community?
Well, I'm a member of many organizations, Ovarian Cancer Research Alliance. I'm on the board there. I'm a volunteer and active member of NOCC, National Ovarian Cancer Coalition, and I travel around the country informing people about signs and symptoms, unseen signs and symptoms, and also just general care for yourself. You know, advocacy doesn't start and stop with chronic or terminal illness. It starts from the very beginning of just knowing to listen to your body, going to the doctor. My doctor at Dana Farber, Dr. Constantinopoulos told me, if you experience anything longer than 7 days, you should get it investigated. And that's a message that I take out into the world.
Absolutely. I mean, it just shows the importance of listening to your body. But even, you know, you think about little things that could plague you in your day-to-day life, and it's so easy to just ignore those things.
You think you could be tougher than it, but it really is something you should look into. And like, what can we do? I mean, you do so much, but what can we do to spread the awareness of the ovarian cancer in general and also in the Black community as well?
I think just mentioning to people that ovarian cancer is a thing. I had never heard of it before I was diagnosed, right? So even just letting people know that women are susceptible to women's cancers that are specific to organs that people who are born with women's organs can get, right? So, you know, in this day and age, it's not single to being a woman, but if you were born with those organs, you are susceptible to getting cancer in any of those organs. And so, you know, spreading that gospel everywhere to everyone, just enlightening people, even in the African-American community or other POC communities, just letting them know, like, hey, this can happen to anyone, and it's not just for seniors or older people. It can be someone young. I was in my 30s.
And Elle, also, I mean, I said it, go to our Instagram page. It's really impressive, all the cooking you do. How do you balance getting the treatment and also with your career on PBS and with your podcast as well, and being an excellent chef?
Well, I have to be honest with you. It's not always easy to balance. Sometimes I can't balance it. Sometimes I have to choose my health over everything else. And that's the only way that I can predominantly be a star, right? Is if I'm rested, if I'm taking care of my body, then when it's time to work and time to shine, I can do that more freely, right? So prioritizing myself, and having healthy work-life balance is the key.
Elle, thank you so much. You can catch her on America's Test Kitchen. Check out her podcast, The Walk-In. Thank you for everything you do, and to continually be someone that shares your story and how powerful it is and lets people know how important Dana Farber is and the Jimmy Fund as well.
So important to me. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Elle, for joining us so much. We'll now toss it over